Hi there, this is Simon Bilcliffe, Managing Director of Webmart. I'm going to run through the presentation I'm doing at the Scottish Growing Business Expo, taking place on Thursday and Friday. So the idea is just to do a quick run through so you can see what the wonderful world of Webmart is about and how we have achieved business growth that is both fun and profitable. The two things should be working together. So this is going to be a quick rattle through. I'm going to take half an hour when I do it live, and hopefully you get the key salient points. That's our stand. Again, it will be rather unusual, so hopefully you'll have popped in to see us at B7. If not, you'll be able to see through the website and obviously googling Webmart Scotland to get any further details that you need. Because these are the types of things that we do. Our specialism, we've got 688 years worth of print experience within the yellow sheds in East Kilbride, in Barnsley and down here in the south, to help you deliver better value through all of these things: published products, catalogues, direct mail, etc. So anything that is printed. So what are you going to get out of this brief investment of your time in the rather unusual and indeed yellow world of Webmart? I'm hoping that you'll be able to see what I did to grow from self-funded and never borrowing any money from the start, where it was simply me and a scion, a dodgy looking suit and rather tinier hair, to develop a business that is significantly bigger than that now. We are 37 million turnover. We've got 3 locations, as I mentioned: East Kilbride for Scotland, Barnsley for the north of England, and Bicester near Oxford for the south of the UK. And we do huge amounts of printing every year, and we've got 48 people at your service. So quickly, whizzing on, this is what a yellow shed looks like. This is the rather unorthodox location. I'll run through a bit more into why that's unorthodox a bit later on. And what I'm going to try and do is explain why, without getting any more people, we're going to develop from 37 million to 100 million. And this is the opportunity that's out there these days with e-enabled business and using the internet more effectively than your competition. You can grow quite dramatically. I'm just going to give you a very brief snapshot as to the unique culture and how we add value to not only people within the business, but more importantly, the people that buy off us and the people that sell to us, because these are the people that make all the difference to our business. So, our objective, really clearly, is to be the world's best print services agency, because that's what we do. Nothing else. We just deliver print and logistics wrapped around the print for people from Microsoft through to Blockbuster and literally hundreds of other customers as well. And the aim is that when you've got a marketplace like we have, where there is no product differentiation at all, because even if you're an expert, you look at a piece of print, you can't tell where it's printed. You've got to differentiate yourself, and increasingly people have seen that their products are being differentiated. So it's all about the experiential stuff and engaging and aligning people inside your business and outside, which gives you a source of comparative advantage, which gives you profitable growth. And of course, everybody enjoys working for a profitable company. There's nothing more fun than being successful. If you're not successful, it isn't a lot of fun. So those two things kind of do go hand in hand. So, this weird diagram, which is on the side of the building as well and inside the building, is the virtuous value vortex. And basically, what that means to you and I is that if you understand your suppliers better in our world, in our business model, the more we understand our suppliers and their capacity and their capability, because everybody has, in the manufacturing industry, has downtime, and we want to give them work when they need it, but not when they don't. We harness that together through a little yellow blob called Webmart to deliver it to all of our customers. And those customers are in mail order, in the government, they're in publishing, they're in travel, they're in all of the key sectors. And they only use us when they need us. And they say, well, we need something printing, and we will intelligently source from the best producer of print at that moment in time. It's fantastically simple when you've got it mapped out together, and we map it all through our software that we've developed in-house for 13 years and are continually developing now. So what, you may ask, are the underlying principles that run Webmart? Well, I call them Northern because, as you may have guessed, I am from the North. Trusting each other is default. Trust is the most efficient way of working, bar none. If you trust people, you work with them, you don't have to have NDAs and all that stuff. It's best practice to have that as well, just for the peace of mind. But the fact is, you don't need to. And if you trust people from the outset, then you work really efficient with them, as quickly as you possibly can. Now, there are some people you shouldn't trust, and you learn that very, very quickly that way. But, the key to it is you're engaging them from day one. And it's amazing how quickly you can move forward when you do that. Also, being honest, don't say one thing and do the other. Very direct and straightforward to deal with. And of course, as I would say, coming from the north, it's a fundamentally good outlook on life. Our objective for everybody within the business and outside it is to maximise these three things: the emotional, financial and intellectual return. And those are the three things, only those three things you have to think about whenever we do something within the business. Because if you do it on your supply side, you maximise those three things, you can replay it through to your customer side. And this double-sided business model, which rather looks like an infinity curve if you can visualise it that way, is a source of sustainable competitive advantage for us, because we're harvesting all of the insight from our suppliers, replaying it to our customers. When a customer needs something or wants something unusual that we haven't thought of before, we can ask our suppliers and they will come up with a solution for it. And we are a catalyst within that process. We take the orders, we give it to them, it de-risks it for the suppliers, which is really critical in this time of difficult credit lines, etc. And we're cash positive as far as they're concerned, we'll pay them very quickly, etc., etc. And we also only give them work when they need to and charge them nothing. So we make our money in the difference between the buy price and the sell price, and we always can deliver a price better to the customer than they could if they went direct to their printers. And that's the basic value proposition of our business, and that's how we do it. And these are the things that we have to do as a business, nothing else. Don't have to worry about anything else. If we maximise those three things, people won't want to leave us, people will always want to work with us. And that's what we've found. We've been going 16 years now, so it's kind of proven. And we're growing in a marketplace that is very, very difficult outside of our yellow sheds. So, one of the key things we found from this is that collaboration is a key differentiator going forward. And actually it's nicer. If you collaborate with people, if you work with people, it's much better than working against them. And most companies are adversarial, most marketplaces are adversarial. It's all about, if I win, you lose. It's a male, kind of alpha male approach to business. And what we're seeing very much is it's much more of a female type of working relationship you need to have with people, which means you listen more. You try and empathise more, you try and understand each other and get a mutual win. And those are the kind of approaches that we've certainly worked with our suppliers and our clients going forward, and we've all grown business together. There doesn't have to be a zero-sum game where somebody loses out if you approach it in that way. And the key skill and the key strength of all businesses going forward has to be how well you collaborate with people inside and outside your business. And that's one of the key things that I found that makes it much more enjoyable. And if you look after others, rather than looking after yourself, the old adage, look after number one, it actually doesn't work these days. The key to that is you have to share and actually show vulnerability. When you do something wrong, you've got to actually own up to it and say, you're not invincible, because that comes across as lacking in authenticity. You've got to be honest and open, but the more you share that, the more that people look after you. Because if you think about the old adage, what goes around comes around. When you do it, usually, when you apply that, you usually think when you've done somebody down or done somebody over, they'll always get you back. But the other way works as well. If you do consistently kind things for people without any necessarily any immediate return, people will spend a lifetime trying to pay you back. And it's a much nicer way of working, and it's much more effective in this day and age. So, these are the key tenets of Webmart, and we work through all of these basic principles whenever people come there, and then we overlay with Marxism. And what Marxism did in its simplest form, what it suggests, is that people who create the value should have a fair and equal share of that value. So what we do is we use capitalist principles of optimising. It's fantastic at making value, really is, but it's absolutely appalling at sharing it out fairly. Whereas Marxism is really bad at creating value, but fantastic at sharing out what little there is. So you work those two things together, and we are probably one of the most successful Marxist capitalist businesses in the country, nay, the world. And that's something that we're looking to build on. This is something we call the SECC scheme, which is the profit share scheme, the senior executive incentive scheme, where everybody who's been here for 2 years is in it. And then the surplus profits over and above £400,000 a year, which is what we need to be self-funded and not borrow any money off anybody every year to invest in our software and our people. that then gets shared equally amongst the team who've been there 2 years. And of course that brings up the desired behaviours that you want, people working together and people staying for long periods of time, getting the best and attracting and retaining the best people. And that's why we don't have an HR department and never will. So this is the people. They are the only source of true differentiation within Webmart. It is people that make a business. It took me a long time to realise just the absolute power of an individual to be positive or to be negative, to be corrosive within the organisation. So we have self-management tools and also peer group assessment. Every 6 months we all assess each other about the sharing criteria that we have. That's important as well because it's actually the team players that win in this world, not the individual stars. And so everybody shares it with their line manager and themselves, and it's an objective assessment. Mine's the only one that's made public to maintain that accountability throughout the organisation. The key for me is now to not only get people who are very good at the job, but they've also got the mental headroom, so that when you stretch them, they've got the ability to grow. There's no point somebody topping out, because otherwise you're not going to go anywhere. You maximise them, they will get bored, you'll get frustrated. Key thing is to assess people based on their attitude, number one, and then their mental competence and the stretch, the space they've got in their head to accept new ideas and to develop and change, as we go forward. And then you have to give them the biggest opportunities, not the biggest problems to solve. Because the biggest opportunities are generally ones that you need really bright people to make them turn into reality. And if you do it that way, then you've got a better chance of making it happen. Problems don't drive a business forward, put simply. All they do is solve something, but it won't strategically help you grow and help you deliver new and unique value. Now there is a slight contradiction there, in that if going on to the new, it is now the case, it probably always has been, that all of the easy and logical ideas are actual products. People have done those. So by definition, everything that's innovative these days is either a combination of counterintuitive and or difficult, or most likely both. So if it's counterintuitive and difficult, you're going to fail quite a lot. There's no guarantees, because otherwise it would be an easy thing that everybody's done. So by the nature of the beast, you've got to have a high tolerance of failure within your organisation, but the right kind of failure. Not people not following process, because that will kill you. But when you're pushing the boundaries, when you're looking forward, when you're trying new things, expect to fail. But every time you fail, you know there's an avenue that you haven't got to go down again, because you've tried it, you've tested it, you've made sure that you've got the rigor, intellectual rigour within your business to give it the best opportunity. If it didn't work, you move on, but you've learned something in that way. And that's how strategically you create unique products, unique services, a unique space in a commoditised world. And that's what we have to do. Every business, doesn't matter what you do, it's those differentiators that are the key things to make people come back and refer you. Because actually in the business-to-business world, and obviously all our customers are businesses, there's only two ways that you can get new clients these days, really. One is the internet, and two is referral. So 87% of our customers are through referral. Really, really, really important. And the rest of them, a bit of searching and a bit of, kind of tweeting and all the other social media-y things. So the key to it is to make sure that you only focus on things that uniquely add value to your customers and suppliers. This is the top of our CRM that we've developed. First thing you see every day, don't do anything that doesn't add value to suppliers and customers. Really simple, keeps focused, and it's got to be differentiated. If it's the same as everybody else, it's not adding value. So by the nature of the beast, you have to think differently. And this isn't a static process, it is continual. Rather like Toyota, who's the world's most cited proponent of continual development and evolution. Fantastic, fantastic company, but their strapline on their Kaizen policy is the best is not good enough. And very much anybody who wants to be a world-class business has got to feel that way. Never be a restless soul. There's no point in saying, oh, we've achieved anything, because it's such a transient thing these days. It's a continual process that you have to invest time, money and expertise in. But not forgetting the small things, little things like having a note on your light switches to say turn it off at night. And we save 37% of our electricity 1 year by turning monitors off and all those things. Those are the little things, those are the waste within everybody's business that you can eliminate without diminishing the service that you deliver to your customers and to your suppliers. Really important to do that. Once you've got a great business model, you want to leverage it as quickly as you can. So we've invested huge amounts of money, about £2.5 million in our software over the years. But that is a source of comparative advantage that we can then scale globally, and we do millions of pounds worth of quotes a day now through our software. So I hope that was a kind of brief overview of the rather unusual world of Webmart. Hope it's been useful. If there's anything that you want me to ask about, please get in touch with me. My email address is on the bottom there, or you can just Google my name.